Hi, I'm Dr. Lisa Kopp.
And I'm Dr. Wendy Allen Rhodes, and we are the Sarcoma Sisters.
We are friends, moms, wine enthusiasts, and pediatric oncologists.
That means that we take care of kids, teenagers, and young adults with cancer.
We know that cancer is confusing and scary.
And our patients tell us that it's even harder to find information about sarcomas. So we are bringing the experts to you to talk about all the things.
Well, all the things important to you.
Thank you so much for listening.
All right, let's get started. Hi, and welcome to our podcast. I'm Dr. Lisa Kopp.
And I'm Dr. Wendy Allen Rhodes. You're listening to episode 1 of the Sarcoma Sister podcast. In this episode, you're going to get to know us a little bit and learn about why we wanted to do this podcast dedicated to sarcomas. So I'm going to pass this over to Lisa, and Lisa, who is one of my dear friends who I met through work, is going to tell you a little bit about why she had this idea to start this podcast dedicated to sarcomas. Lisa,
Thanks.
tell us.
Thanks, Wendy. So as you know, Wendy and I are both pediatric oncologists, and we both have seen lots of patients with pediatric sarcomas and some young adults with sarcomas as well. So about a year ago, I got a new job where I work for this company that runs oncology clinical trials. And as the oncologist, I look at the overall safety. And during that time, I was thinking about what else could we do for our sarcoma patients? And I was thinking a lot about when I was caring for sarcoma patients and talking to patients and their parents, and what are those pain points? And I was thinking a lot of times in the visit, we can't always get to everything we want because there's a lot going on. And a lot of times I'd want to dig deeper, but it was stuff like nutrition. And Wendy, you know, we don't know a lot about nutrition.
Amen.
They don't teach us it in med school.
No.
So I was thinking, I always
wanted Lisa? It was interesting. So I still see patients, and you know that I had clinic today, and I was talking with a family and questions came up, and I thought, I don't know the answer to that question. And it wasn't about chemotherapy. It wasn't about surgery. It wasn't about the tumor. It was about all of the other stuff. So I think you're absolutely right. I think that in those office visits, I was kind of in my head mentally thinking like, oh gosh, like there's somebody waiting for me in the next room. Like we're going to have to put this conversation on hold. And so even from our side, like my side, I was like, I can't really give this the attention that it needs right now. So I think that's where you and I had the conversations back and forth about like, how do we get this information to people and how do we answer, I don't know, all the cancer questions, but all the other questions like you were talking about. So sorry, I just stole that from you, but that just happened 4 hours ago.
Right. And that's what, I was trying to think of like on a bigger level, how could we do this? And since I'm a little bit obsessed with podcasts, I was looking around and I did not see any podcasts that were aimed at sarcomas. So that's when I reached out to you because I was thinking, who is my funnest friend who also works with patients with sarcoma? And that was Wendy Allen Rhodes.
I love being described as fun. I like that. I like that a whole lot. And oncologists can be fun, even though we have something really serious to deal with. If you're listening to this podcast, you probably at least have heard the word sarcoma. Many people in the world, in the country, have not. But it can be very serious. Mostly always is very serious. But I think what I love about pediatrics is that it allows us to show our fun side and be silly and still let kids be kids when they need to be kids. So Lisa and I are often very goofy, but we know that this is a very serious diagnosis, and we know that the treatment is hard. It's grueling. We give some of the toughest chemotherapy, surgery, and radiation, and all of medicine, really. And we know that, but we are pediatricians at heart, and probably big kids, I think. And we do like to have fun with what we're doing and try to bring joy to people. So, that's all I have to say about that.
No, thanks, Wendy. And that's what I was thinking about. This would be an opportunity for us to reach more people and to dig deep on those topics that either are topics that maybe we're experts on, such as chemotherapy treatments or these new targeted agents, or other topics that we're not experts on. And then we'll bring in the experts like nutrition. A lot of people always seem to have questions about supplements and vitamins and I guess that's the other thing, Wendy, when I first brought this to you, I thought I knew topics that people would want to hear. And Wendy and I were
Cheesy.
brainstorming. And then I asked one of my patients' parents, and they had completely a different list of topics, which
Yeah,
is
I
not
think
shocking.
Yeah, I think that's so important. I think, what we learn in medical school and fellowship, which is our training to be oncologists, is how to give medicine that works and how to give it in a safe way.
Right.
And a lot of our medicines are so old, and people are looking for new things, and they're looking for ways to help support their quality of life, in terms of nutrition and supplements and exercise and other healing therapies too. What's that called with the energy one? See, I'm showing my deficiencies.
Reiki?
Yes, that's the one.
It's my DO-ness coming out for you.
Oh yeah?
My osteopathic side, I know about complementary medicine,
Yeah.
but I'm
Oh,
not an
that's
expert.
true.
I'm not an expert. That's why we need to bring on the experts.
Lisa, I forgot about that. Oh gosh, I'm such a terrible friend. Yeah, there's that. There's acupuncture. So there's all these things that you probably know more about, but then there's other people that
No.
do it on the daily, on the reg, that know more. So I think those topics we think are going to be important to our listeners, right? Based on our very in-depth survey.
Yeah. Right.
But Lisa, speaking of in-depth or not so in-depth survey, tell people where they can find us so they can tell us what they want to hear about.
Yes, because we know that everybody's sarcoma journey and experience, no matter where you're at in the beginning, middle, and long-term survivorship, is different and individual, but then there's a lot of common questions too. So we want to know, what do you want to hear? What experts do you want us to bring on? So you can go to our website and visit us there at www.sarcomasisters.com. Or you could find us on the social. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And on the website, you'll see toward the bottom, it's a very simple site because we made it ourselves. You can submit questions and just let us know what questions do you want to know. And the same thing, you can also find us on social media and drop a question there too.
Excellent. On our social media web pages stuff, you'll also see some disclaimers that we'll just plop here in the first episode about we know that if you've been diagnosed with sarcoma, or if one of your family members or loved ones has been diagnosed with sarcoma, and we don't know you personally, that means we're not personally your doctor. So this is all kind of just general information. It should not be taken as medical advice. And anything you hear here that you have questions about, or you want to get more information about that is specific to you and your care plan, please consult with your oncologist and make sure that it's appropriate for you where you're at in your treatment and with your treatment plan in whole. So please don't do anything wacky just because we talked about it. Not that we're going to talk about wacky things, but everybody has specific nuances to their care plan that we certainly don't want to supersede in any way.
Yeah, as Wendy said, the point of this podcast is not to take the place of your doctor, and we have the utmost respect, of course, for all sarcoma doctors, and we want you to listen to them first and foremost, but we want to just go broader, go deeper on these other issues. And as we were saying, we don't have all the answers, and we don't have all the questions either. So for our very first real episode, this is more the intro episode, we are going to have a family on who has a daughter who completed osteosarcoma therapy and now is in long-term survivorship. So we're going to have them on as our first one, as our first interview, to kind of get those questions rolling and think about what do we want for future episodes. So we'll get that to you and drop it soon.
Yes, that's what it's called, right, Lisa? Drop an episode.
Like it's hot. Yes. Now you know
here's my personal disclaimer. The real story behind the podcast and Lisa is that Lisa is literally obsessed with podcasts. You are obsessed with podcasts, right?
Yeah, a certain kind, mainly personal growth. I'm a little over the top.
I'm not even going to tell you the one podcast series that I actually listen to. I'm not going to say it on this recording, but I've only ever listened to one full is it called a series of podcasts, or when they do multiple?
It just depends. But yeah, it's a series, I guess. It
depends
what it is. Serial is a series.
I've only listened to one full one, and it was only 5 or 6 long. But this morning I was listening to a Brene Brown one. So I'm working into the podcast. So Lisa just said, I have this really fun idea and I want you to do it. And I was like, yeah, sure. I have no idea what that means.
Yay. Yeah.
So here we are.
Yes. And we want to give a shout out to our friend Lauren Nichols, who brought us together all in the sarcoma world.
Absolutely.
That's how we met. Sarcoma is a small space with amazing people, including patients and caregivers. And so, anyways, our friend Lauren, who's also a pediatric oncologist, brought the two of us together. And now you're stuck with us on this podcast, which we hope you really enjoy.
All right. I don't know. I think we're done, Lisa, right? How do you end a podcast?
Well, just to say thanks you all for tuning into this first episode. And we're really looking forward to bringing you excellent people. And I have some excellent interviews coming up. And we can't wait to talk to you next time.
Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully our moms listen at least, right?
Yeah, I know, right? Exactly. All right.
All right.
Till next time, everyone.
Till next time. Adios.
Bye-bye. Thanks for listening. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or find us at sarcomasisters.com and drop us a note. If you enjoyed our podcast, please share with a friend. Thanks so much. Till next time.